totally different meaning. We ought also to consider this morning the question of fear. Fear of the future, what might happen, fear of insecurity, fear of death, fear of what has happened in the past. There are so many fears that human beings carry with them. Or one dominant fear. Most human beings have fear. Not only physical fears of getting hurt, not only physically getting hurt, but inwardly getting hurt. We have fear of that. We have fear of oppression, fear of losing a job, fear of unemployment. In this country, there are people between 18 and 30 who have never known what work is. And so they become rowdy, you know, the rest of what's happening in this country, in the other parts of the world. We're not talking of a particular form of fear. Not your particular form or my particular form. I might be afraid of public opinion. I'm not, but suppose one is. What somebody else might say. And there is the fear of not achieving enlightenment, you know, whatever that may mean. Not so many things we are frightened of. Agree? At least do we see this? As we said, we're not talking about a particular form of fear. But what is fear? You understand? One may be frightened of the dark, or frightened of what one's wife might say, and so on. Those are all expressions of multiple expressions of the central fact of fear, right? So we are talking about the central fact of fear, the root of fear, not the various forms of fear. And what is the root of all this? And fear has been one of the major factors of our life, not only now, but in the past millennia, centuries upon centuries ago. The most primitive people were frightened of thunder, lightning. So they made that into God. You understand? Anything that we are frightened of, we make it into God or into something to be worshipped or something to be killed. Probably that's what we are doing now. So we are frightened people. Frightened of a pain of yesterday recurring again today or tomorrow. Pain of losing one's eyesight, hearing, and ultimately dying. And we are asking, what is the cause of all the fear? What is the origin, the beginning of fear? And can that fear, first psychologically, inwardly, not the fear of outward things, but first the inward, inside the brain, inside the very hidden part of the brain, the very recesses of the brain. What is fear? Why have we not solved it? If there is no fear at all inwardly, would we have gods? Yes, sir. It's fear that's creating gods all over the world. So it's very important to understand and find out for oneself whether it's possible to be totally free of fear. First, psychologically, inwardly, subjectively. If you ask the speaker, are you talking this as a fact, or are you free of it subjectively? What if you answered yes? And then where are you? You understand my question? So, it's not important to ask whether the speaker is free or not, but whether one is free or not. And how important, how essential it is to be free of fear. So, what is fear? What is the origin, the beginning? Deeply. Not only in the deep levels of the brain, the so-called unconscious fears. Speaker doesn't like to divide consciousness into the unconscious and conscious. It's all consciousness. You can play around with those words, but consciousness is whole. You can divide it, either for profit, for amusement, or for various other subjective reasons. But consciousness is whole. It's really indivisible. But we like to break it up. So let's go into this question. What is the root of fear? Is it thought?